2017, the annual town meeting of the Lunenburg town. I declare that the warrant has been properly served and returned according to the records that are on file in the clerk's office. We have done a count, and we do have a quorum, which in the town of Lunenburg is 50 people. At this point, I would ask you to stand, address the flag, and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I would like to thank all the people in this town that dedicate a lot of time and energy, resources, that are either on an elected position or a volunteer position, and we do appreciate all the hard work that you do. If you didn't see them before, we have a talent bank form, whatever color you're going to call that. And if you're interested in volunteering for any capacity, please just check one off, return it to anybody. These are also available on the town's website. Just come up and talk to somebody in any committee that you're interested in, or anybody on the select board. We would love to have you volunteer. We do have openings and vacancies. We have vacancies on the PAC, we have Stormwater Task Force vacancies, agriculture vacancies, ZBA vacancies. We have a need for people in elected positions on the Board of Health, the Sewer Commission, and the Planning Board. So we do have a lot of openings. We need more talented people. I'm sure that many of you are dedicated and talented people, and we would love to have you. At this point in time, I'd like to turn the meeting over just briefly to Mr. Toll.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'd just like to mention that this is Selectman Tom Alonzo's last town meeting as a selectman. Tom has lived on Lancaster Avenue in Lunenburg with his wife, Christine Foltz, since 1998. Tom served on the Finance Committee from 2003 to 2005, has been a member of the Board of Selectmen since 2005, and served as its chairman 4 times. Tom was on the Town Charter Review Committee in 2006 and 2007, the Municipal Web Service Task Force in 2011, the Cable Advisory Committee 2015 through present, the Town Hall Clockwinder Group since 2003. Tom is a Lunenburg Boys and Girls Club board member since 2010 and has been the host of the game show Are You Smarter Than Our Sixth Graders for 5 years. Tom currently serves on the School Building Committee, and he was a founding member of the Lunenburg Civic Forum in 2002 through 2005. I'd like you to please join me in thanking Tom for his service to the town.
You want to say a few words, I assume?
First, I'm looking for the button on the new mic. So, first of all, that's incredible research because I don't even remember some of those things. For that. And I will say that this will be the new venue for the new game show, which is rescheduled for June 2nd this year after it was snowed out earlier in the year, so that could be a good segue. It really has been an honor and a pleasure to serve on this board with all my fellow current members and past members and all the people in all the boards, committees, commissions, and ad hoc committees that I've worked with in the town, and working with so many wonderful people in the citizenry to help further the needs of the town and address every concern that I think came forward to us. I'm obviously going to miss it, but it was a pleasure serving you, and I really thank the chair and everybody in the audience for those kind words. And I couldn't think of a better way after the moderator has announced all the openings. I can't think of a better way to serve the town. And even for anybody's personal satisfaction, I can say that there's really no gratification, no way to explain the gratification you get when you work for a larger cause, and I would encourage anybody in this audience who doesn't already do so, and as I look over the faces, many of you already are on committees and boards and serve the town, but there really is no better way to do that, and the feeling you get back from the community is really, it's really priceless. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, Tom. Going to go over the ground rules for the meeting. Please remove your hats when you're indoors and in the presence of the American flag. Turn off all your noisemakers, that's your cell phones, your beepers and the like. And that includes any verbal noisemakers that are inappropriate for civil debate. By that I mean hissing, booing, hollering, etc. All comments and questions are to be addressed to me, and I will seek an answer for you from the necessary boards, committees, moving parties, etc. It's not appropriate to refer to people specifically by their name. It's more appropriate in these settings to say the previous speaker, the moving party, the select board, something to that effect. Your comments and questions should always be at the microphones. There's one in each one of the aisles. There's one up at the podium if you need that one. Stand in line. I will recognize you in order to the best that I can. I may call on the select board or the finance committee out of order if I feel that we need an answer from them. If you're not able to get to the microphone, just let somebody know that's sitting near you and we'll have the microphone brought to you. The only time anyone can simply just stand up and address the body is if there's a serious question about procedural issues. At that point in time, you may stand and say, point of order, and we will address that. But it should not be something just as a general question. It should be a serious procedural error. The moving party will speak first, be given adequate time to present to the article, and thereafter speakers will be allowed to address that. If you're allowed to come up and speak a second time, or if you need to, please keep your comments the second time to much less time. Amendments to articles, more than just simple changes, must be in writing. And there are forms at each one of the microphones, and there are forms up here if you need them, just so we can make sure that we have a clear record of any amendment that you've made. Moving the question or cutting off debate is something that must be done from the microphone. It must be seconded. It's not debatable, and it's a 2/3 majority. And I can call that out of order if I feel that there's still a lot of people who want to speak to a particular issue. Every article is put to a voice vote, and I will declare whether it is passed or failed based upon the 2/3 or the majority required. If people don't think I got it right, not that I've ever been wrong, but if you don't think I've got it right, 7 people stand and say, I doubt it, and then we'll have a hand count. And the hand count will be done with your cards, to make sure that you've got your cards with you. Reconsideration of a vote that we've just had requires a majority vote. Either the prevailing party or the losing party may ask for reconsideration. But I'm not going to allow a reconsideration of a vote if a lot of time has passed and the amount of people that are left in the auditorium has changed dramatically. Guests, people who are not voters in town, to be seated on my right, your left, down in the front where Heather is sitting in the podium is. And obviously they don't have voting cards. This town conducts its business according to a book called Town Meeting Time. There's one available in the library. You can order them through the Moderators Association. It's a lot like Robert's Rules of Order. It's designed to keep the meeting orderly and so that everybody's aware that it's conducted. We're not trying to keep you out of the process. If you want to get involved with any type of an article that you want to put on the warrant in the future, if you have amendments or things that you want to do at town meeting, just let us know and we'll help you facilitate that particular process. Obviously, we're allowing food in the auditorium today. I want to encourage you to eat the donuts. If you must, you can have the fruit. There's coffee out there as well. Please make sure that you're picking up all of the food, keep it clean in here since we have such a beautiful auditorium. The exits are marked if you need to go to the bathroom. The exits are marked over to my right. But if once you've left, come back through that main door that you came in. You can go out that door, but you need to make sure you're always coming in through that door. At this point in time, I want to make sure that you understand that we have a consent budgets that we'll be going through. We will be going through the budget process by putting on holds. So when we get to those, the capital plan budget and the overall town budget, we'll go through how we're going to go through that process. At this point in time, I think we're ready to begin our business. So we begin with Article 1.
Moderator, I move that the town vote to pass over Article 1, having already accepted the regular written reports of the town officers and committees.
Is there a second? Selectmen, your recommendation.
Board of Selectmen recommends approval.
Finance.
Finance has no financial impact.
All right. Anyone want to debate whether we should pass it over? Seeing none, I declare we're ready to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Article 2.
Mr. Moderator,
Ms. Gibson.
I move that the town vote to reauthorize the revolving funds for the Fire Department, Conservation Commission, School Committee, Library, and the Council on Aging for the purposes and spending limits as printed on the annual town meeting warrant.
Is there a second?
Second.
Folks, this is on page 8 of your warrant. This will show you where all the revolving funds are. Selectmen, what is your recommendation?
Selectmen recommend approval.
Finance Committee.
Finance committee recommends approval.
Anyone want to debate the revolving funds that are on page 8 of the warrant? Seeing no one at the microphone, we declare we're ready to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Article 3, Mr. Alonso.
I move that the town vote to authorize in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, the Stormwater Task Force Revolving Fund, such fund to be credited with the proceeds of the sale of rain barrels and composting bins. Funds in the account to be expended for the acquisition of additional rain barrels and composting bins. The Stormwater Task Force may expend such funds without further appropriation. Expenditures from the revolving fund may not exceed $5,000 per year without the approval of the Board of Selectmen and Finance Committee.
Is there a second? Selectmen, your recommendation.
Selectmen recommend approval.
Finance.
Finance committee recommends approval.
Tell us about this, Mr. Alonso.
This is a new requested Stormwater Task Force revolving fund for the purchase, as was indicated in the article, to purchase additional rain barrels and compost bins for sale to and distribution to the citizenry.
Seeing no one at the microphone, I'll declare we're ready to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Article 4, Mrs. Perkins.
I move that the town vote to authorize, in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, the electrical, gas, and plumbing inspector revolving fund. Such fund to be credited with 82.5% of the fees collected from wiring permits and 80% of the fees collected from plumbing and gas permits, and expended by the building department without further appropriation for the sole purpose of payment of all charges and fees related to the electrical, plumbing, and gas inspection fees. Expenditures from the revolving fund may not exceed $46,000 per year without the approval of the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee.
Is there a second?
Second.
Selectmen, your recommendation.
Selectmen recommend approval.
Finance Committee.
Finance committee recommends approval.
Tell us about the article, Mr. Bertram.
This is a new revolving fund that has been requested by the town manager. Each year, there's been a deficit in the electrical inspector account. This will ensure that a percentage of the fees collected goes to pay the inspector.
Seeing no one at the microphone, I declare we're ready to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Passes unanimously. Article 5, Ms. Luck.
I move that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $21,410.96 for payment of prior year expenses.
Is there a second?
Second.
Selectmen, your recommendation.
Mr. Moderator, we're having problems here where Mrs. Luck's microphone went off.
Mrs. Luck, is your microphone not working?
No, it is not working.
Is it working now?
It's better. It's the same way with Ms. Bertrand.
Can you hear me now? It's like a commercial.
Selectmen recommend approval.
And you can see the article on the board, right? Everybody knows what we're voting on, Article 5 of the warrant. All the articles printed up on the board. Mrs. Luck just read it exactly as it is. Well, actually, not exactly as it is. That's the explanation is also on the bottom of it. Here we go. So there's the article. Selectmen recommend approval. Seconded. Finance Committee
Finance committee recommends approval.
recommends approval. Tell us about the article, Mrs. Luck. Board of Accounts.
Town council request
No, so you've got to see that your light is on. If it's not on, then you're not on. There you go.
Town accountant will explain.
Okay, make sure your light's on, Karen.
This represents retirement deductions for a school employee who was actually called to active duty, and per the federal and state statutes, the town is required to pay this.
Any questions? Seeing no one at the microphone, I'll declare we're ready to vote. All those in favor of Article 5, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Article 6. Mr. Toll.
I move that the town vote to transfer from line 6, health insurance, the sum of $31,100, transfer from line 13, reserve fund, the sum of $98,000, transfer from line 14, unemployment expense, the sum of $8,000, transfer from line 17, annual audit, the sum of $1,750, transfer from line 21, town manager's salary, the sum of $7,000, and from line 75, veterans benefits, the sum of $45,000, and to transfer to line 3, interest temporary loans, the sum of $150, and to line 49, wiring inspector, the sum of $11,000, and to line 53, animal control, the sum of $10,600, and to line 70, snow removal, the sum of $166,000, and to line 74, council on aging, the sum of $3,100, to amend the amounts voted under Article 15 of the May 7, 2016 annual town meeting, Article 1 of the August 22, 2016 special town meeting, and Article 1 of the November 28, 2016 special town meeting.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Selectmen, your recommendation.
Board of Selectmen recommend approval.
Finance Committee.
Finance Committee recommends approval.
Tell us about the article, Mr. Toll.
This is the budget adjustment article on the orange handout, and the town accountant will answer questions.
Excellent. Are there any questions? Seeing none, I'll declare we're ready to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. We'll be home by 10 o'clock. Article 7. Mr. Toll.
I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $343,298.31 and transfer from the free cash the sum of $290,118.69 for a total appropriation of $633,317 to fund the FY18 capital plan as appearing in the capital planning report.
Is there a second?
Second.
Selectmen, your recommendation.
Board of Selectmen recommends approval.
Finance Committee.
Finance Committee recommends approval.
Folks, this is on page 4 of your warrant. All the things that are listed in the capital planning report, broken down by where and how much each one of the items is listed there. Article 7, please, the capital planning report. Somebody told me she wanted to talk about this. There you go. So whenever you get up to the microphone, folks, I don't think I said this earlier, you have to introduce yourself, tell us the street where you live, and every time you get up to the microphone, reintroduce yourself. Because we're recording, this is going to make sure we have a record. So go ahead, young lady.
My name is Ron Olivia.
All right, so that microphone's not working for me at least.
My name is Rhonda Liscio, and I live at 181 Reservoir Road. I would like to see if we could possibly amend this article to include the police department request for the ATV and remove the playground. And I'm not really sure where we would get the other $5,000. But I actually spoke to the chief about this item, and I feel that it's really important. We have lots of trails and inaccessible areas in town. And currently, the police and fire department or other emergency responders have no way of reacting quickly to an emergency situation, whether it's, calls they get as far as people being on the trails and they shouldn't be, or disturbing the land, or if there was a case where someone was missing and there was a medical emergency. So I feel like this is an important item to get on there. It's been requested for, I think, 3 years. And it would also include a cot so that if there was a medical emergency in the trails, emergency responders would be able to respond quickly to that.
Stay there. So you want to purchase an ATV, and how much
the
would that?
price was $17,000.
$17,000. The next part of your motion
Remove the $12,000 for the playground.
from the playground.
And I didn't realize I had to come up with the other $5,000.
So just so everybody understands, anytime we deal with our budget and adjustments to our budget, we're not required at this meeting to leave here with a balanced budget. However, you won't get your state aid if you don't have a balanced budget to submit to the state. So it is best, highly recommended, that anytime we're making adjustments anywhere on our finances, that we balance out where the money's come from. So your amendment, your motion to amend, was that seconded?
Second.
Now it's been seconded. Okay, so now we can debate and discuss the proposed amendment to the capital plan. So I think you said somewhat of what you wanted to talk about.
Yes.
Okay, stay right there. You never know. People might have questions. Don't go far. Anybody else want to discuss, debate, comment on her motion?
Is this working?
I don't know. I can't hear you.
Dave Brock, is that working?
Yeah.
Dave Brock, 733 West Street.
Yep.
Which playground project are you talking about? Does anyone know?
Mr. Tolley, can you address capital planning issues? Mr. Rodriguez?
Mr. Rodriguez will address that.
This particular amount of money is going to be targeted at the Wallace Park Playground. You noticed earlier in the year, or you may not have noticed, that most all of the playground equipment was removed because of standards, playground standards, and it was just too dangerous to have them there. So this is the beginning of a town-wide project to rebuild, offer more activities for younger children, and we're starting with the Wallace Park.
Thank you. If I could just comment on that, I know there are a lot of interested people in the Whalen area who have been organizing to try and save that park and get it rejuvenated. I don't know if any of them are here today, but they just recently had an event last weekend, a party, a fundraiser, I think just a general interest party, to see how they could help and help plan that out. I'm not opposed to a new piece of equipment that I think is vital for the police department, but I just question whether that's the place we should take down, because those kids down in that area need something to do.
Mr. Moderator?
Right.
I'd just like to say as well that, from our point of view, we put this through the capital plan because we thought it was an important thing to do, and whether fair is the word or not, we also support the police department. We support their projects and the things they put before capital plan. I just don't know about the equity here, putting one against the other, sort of distant and removed.
Okay. Sure.
Or Mr. Moderator, I was wondering if I could...
How about your name and where you live, even though I know it?
Oh, okay. Dave McDonald, Island Road, Bloomberg. I'd like to refer this question to Chief Marino for his comments on it.
Okay. Chief, can you comment about this, please?
not appreciating the support on this issue. What I would say is that, as Ron alluded to, this is an important piece of equipment. But my mantra is always that, we have to be prepared for any emergency. If we're not prepared to respond to an emergency, then the public's going to think that the police department is ineffective. I can't have the public thinking that the police department is ineffective. I put this on a capital plan about, actually 4 years ago. I've applied for 2 grants, and although the grant administrator was very helpful in trying to get us this money to purchase this piece of equipment, it just didn't fit the grant criteria at the time. I'm still reaching out for money to fund this, and I'm hoping that maybe we can do it by grant money. I would say that the capital plan is something I think we spend probably more time on than the budget. The capital planning committee works very closely together to try to come up with priorities, and these purchases are based on those priorities. Now, with respect to the playground, that was also kind of a priority for the police department, because obviously, if you know anything about that broken windows theory, we have a playground in disrepair, and it's going to become a place where maybe a criminal element might take hold of it, and the police department can have that as well. So with this list, we all kind of put our heads together and came up with our priorities, and that's what we ended up with right there. I plan on putting that ATV back on the capital plan next year, and hopefully, in the meantime, hopefully I can get some funding from another source, because obviously the last thing I want to do is burden the taxpayers if we don't have to. We're always looking for money elsewhere. I would appreciate your support next year on that matter, or if we don't get the money. I think it's a really important piece of equipment for us to have, because we cannot respond out in some of the conservation areas, some of even the privately owned lands where a resident will call and say that somebody's out there either maybe staking a tent or maybe tearing up the lands with one of their own motorcycles or ATVs, and they want the police to respond to that. And again, if we can't respond to that, they think that we're ineffective. And it's just that, sometimes we only have a couple people on the road, and we can't get out of the car and run into, a mile into the woods, leave the police car on the side of the road, and then expect to respond to an emergency call and report back to, run back to the police car and respond to an emergency call. So that's the reason we're asking for this. We received a trailer from Homeland Security, which a couple of years ago for free, which we hoped we could use to transport an ATV in the event that we did purchase one. But again, anything I say here, Rhonda, I appreciate the support 100%. I wish you'd come back at the next town meeting if I could ask for this again. But the capital planning committee does work very hard to come up with these priorities. And again, I fully support the playground project, for my own selfish reasons, because obviously we're trying to keep the, crime rate down. It's part of what we do. So, again, I feel like I'm turning my back on it. I'm not. I want the support, but I think it's going to have to wait, honestly, until next year. Thank you.
Your motion, go ahead.
I just wanted to make it clear I wasn't trying to pick on the playground. I was just trying to find the most equitable trade that I could on the list.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. There we go. That's fine. You're first. Good. Your name again.
Dave McDonald, Island Road, Bloomberg. One question, Mr. Moderator, to the town manager. Is there any way you can look at the budget to try to accommodate the chief? We're all strong supporters of our local first responders, but also because of the Lane property and the good work from the Snow Rider Club, that is going to be an active trail, I think, this year, and coverage on that, I think, would be ideal at this point. Thank you.
Ms. Lemieux, your first chance to get up here. Go ahead. Mr. McDonald would like to take the money from somewhere else.
Okay. There is available unexpended free cash that was going to fall back towards
next year's free cash. So that would, if we amended the capital plan and made additions to it, it would affect our next year's free cash.
This is Bob Martin, 54 Longwood Drive. Chief, I'm just trying to get a clarification. It seemed you were bouncing back and forth. Are you recommending the playground at this time and then pushing off the ATV, or the ATV now and pushing off the playground?
I'm going to have to support the playground project at this point, and I hope that maybe in the near future that we can have the funds to buy the ATV.
Mr. Moderator? If I might, just for clarification purposes, I'd like to just mention that every year the Capital Planning Committee gets requests from the different departments in town. The total requests usually average $1 million to $1.5 million, not counting any large fire apparatus, etc. And this is a prioritization after talking with the various department heads, the chief, etc. I'm not even sure, we clearly support almost everything on the list, but I'm not sure the ATV might have been even the next one up if we were going to re-debate the priorities. It's a tough thing we do every year, and we do get input from the department heads, the chiefs, etc. Just to keep it in context.
Thank you. Just not enough money to go around? Go ahead.
Just one final
What's your name again?
Oh, sorry, Rhonda Theo, 181 Reservoir Road. Just one more comment. It would be helpful if the capital planning meetings were televised, then I wouldn't have had to try to guess at what the justification was for each item. So I just feel like those meetings maybe should be more, they should be televised in the future. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so there is a motion to amend the capital planning article. And we don't have it in writing yet, Dan, but we may need it. To purchase an ATV for $17,000, take that money and zero out the $12,000 from the playground, and to seek at some point in time the additional $5,000 from another line item from another source. So just on the motion to amend. Seeing no one else at the microphone, I declare we're ready to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Voting on the motion to amend the article.
Moderator, do you have a recommendation from the board, please?
Well, next time you can get up to the microphone and ask for it, but that's okay. I can hear you, Mr. Passio, so we will. Selectman, your recommendation.
Board of Selectmen does not recommend approval.
Finance Committee, have you thought about this or caucused about this?
We have, we do not recommend.
No recommended. There you go. So I declare we're ready to vote. All those in favor of the motion to amend, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying no. No. The motion is defeated. You're now back to Article 7, debating. Any more debate on Article 7? Seeing no one at the microphone, I'll declare we're ready to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Article 8. Eversole.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Eversole.
I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate $34,644,814.46 to transfer $10,868 from the septic receipts reserved for appropriation, transfer $911,971.24 from the sewer enterprise fund, transfer $59,959 from the reserve for MSBA debt, and transfer $62,781 from the water betterment revenue to defray the charges and expenses for the town for fiscal year 2018 of $35,690,393.70, and to fix the salaries and compensation of all elected officials of the town and any other items included in the budget of the town manager.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Selectmen, your recommendation.
Selectmen recommend approval.
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends approval.
Okay. So what we're going to do, folks, we're going to have Ms. Lemieux make a presentation on the budget. When she's finished making the presentation on the budget, we're going to go through the major categories, the totals and subtotals of the major categories. We'll go through the budget that way. So what will happen is that I'll read off that category. Again, this is on page 16 of your warrant, where you budget. The final column on the right-hand side labeled FY18 Town Manager's Recommendation. That's the budget that you're going through. So I'll go through each one of the categories, the main categories. If you wanted to discuss one of those main categories, call out from your seat, hold, and then we'll know you want to come back to that particular category. When we get to the end, we'll go through the holds, we'll discuss them, and then we'll vote on the whole budget. Just because you don't say hold on a particular category doesn't mean that's yet passed. It just means we're trying to put a place mark to the areas that we want to discuss. So after all of that explanation, Ms. Lemieux.
Hello, everybody. So if you can please take out the green handout in the booklet, and we'll be referring to pages 16 through 19 in the warrant booklet. So just to tell you a little bit about the budget process that we follow, it follows a calendar, and the budget worksheets are sent out in January to all the departments. This year, the departments were requested to submit a level service budget as well as an above-level service budget. The departments submit back their budgets at the end of January. The town manager, per the charter, makes a recommendation to finance in mid-February, and the finance committee meets with all the departments and reviews their budgets during the months of February and March. And a final recommendation is made by finance in April. And we stand here today to approve the budget the first Saturday in May. The recommendation before you funds all contractual union, non-union salary increases, and it reflects level services with some exceptions. The balanced budget proposal is based on using recurring revenues for operating costs, meaning there's no request to draw on free cash or stabilization for the operating budget. This budget proposal meets and exceeds the town's financial policies. One of the financial policies is to put 5% of the operating budget back into stabilization, which it does. But it also deposits free cash into a special purpose stabilization fund to pay for future large capital needs as identified in the capital plan, such as fire apparatus. And the amount recommended in the budget for that under a separate article is $200,000. It also starts to fund the town's OPEB liabilities in the amount of $100,000, and that is other post-employment benefits. So if you look at a breakdown of our revenue estimates, as you can see, the largest portion, 65% of our revenue comes from property tax, with the next highest percent, 22% from state aid. The sources of revenue include property tax, state aid money, local receipts, and other available funds. Property tax includes residential, commercial, industrial, and personal property tax. State aid includes Chapter 70 public elementary and secondary school funding, unrestricted general government aid, among other categories. Local receipts covers motor vehicle excise taxes, penalties and interest collected by the tax collector, fees from various permits and licenses from different departments, solar net metering payments, fines, and local option wheels tax. Other available funds include free cash, which is the unexpended balance from the previous fiscal year, and that is certified by the Department of Revenue. Indirect costs charged back to the sewer for town services and their debt payments. And Lunenburg receives a payment each year from MSBA for an old school project in the amount of $534,198. So to get to where our property tax is calculated, you take your prior year base, which is $22,054,802. You add 2.5% for Proposition 2.5, which is an additional $551,370. Add in the estimate for new growth, which we're estimating at $300,000 this year, and the excludable debt from previous projects. We have no current overrides or exclusions in this budget. And that amount is $2,733,558 for a total of property tax of $25,639,730. The estimated new growth for fiscal 18 is $300,000, like I referenced, which is a conservative estimate. The new growth figure for the last 2 fiscal years was conservative and came in about $100,000 over the estimate in fiscal 16 and $188,000 over the estimate for fiscal 17. And this chart just shows this from the Board of Assessors, just shows you what new growth we're looking at for this coming year. So there's, compared to last year's same chart, there's 1 more certificate of occupancy issued, 4 more open permits, 2 more additional permits with anticipated construction by June 30th. Another revenue source is state aid. So this proposal is based on the governor's budget for state aid. The governor has advocated for additional Chapter 70 money, Chapter 90 money, as well as unrestricted general government aid for cities and towns. And this is evident in his budget proposals. The governor's proposal includes 13.9% more for Chapter 70 funding and an additional 3.8% for unrestricted general government aid. Proposal also includes 40S funding, which is smart growth, which there's only 2 communities in Massachusetts that receive this, Lunenburg and Lakeville. And I have included it in the state aid revenue with the expectation if we do not receive it in the final state budget, it would be removed on both the expense and revenue side. This chart is just a breakdown of how the state aid has been calculated over the years and improved. So as you can see, over fiscal 17, the projected total increased substantially, $878,932. Local receipts is another revenue source, and local receipts increased $160,456, or 5.9% from fiscal 16 to 17. Local receipts includes motor vehicle excise tax, licenses, permits, fees, fines, and investment income. This can be an elastic revenue. It can change depending on the economy. So if more people are buying cars, that will change the amount that we receive for motor vehicle excise. It also includes solar revenue we're receiving, an increase of $20,000 for next year. And this budget, the estimate for local receipts, we're using 2.5% increase for motor vehicle excise and 2% for all other estimated local receipts. So other available funds. For the MSBA, we received $534,198. Water and sewer betterments, which is fully funded associated debt and related costs for the water and sewer enterprise fund on the indirect costs. Prior year unexpended articles, which this year is $0. Free cash appropriation to offset capital items, OPEB liabilities, and the regular stabilization fund, as well as transfer to a special purpose stabilization fund, for a total of $695,952.65. To show you what the breakdown of the use of free cash for this budget, we started off with a certification of $888,944. Article 5 which was already voted on, used $21,410.96. Article 7, which was just voted, used $290,018.69. We'll be asking to use $84,523 for the regular stabilization fund on Article 9. In Article 10, we will ask for $200,000 to be transferred to a special purpose stabilization fund. Article 11 will ask for $100,000 to be transferred to the OPEB trust fund. So we have an unappropriated balance of $192,991.35. So this will fall towards next year's free cash. On the expenditure side, expenditures are a reflection of the cost of providing level services to residents of all ages in our community, to visitors traveling, or doing business in Lunenburg, and maintaining and improving our facilities. As a town, we provide services to students, we provide health and human services to seniors and veterans, recreational services, and public safety to all. This budget focuses on service levels, not the number of employees, and the balance and the goal of the budget is to provide the best level of services given the available resources. You refer to your green handout on this. On the expenditure side, which is the right-hand side in the green sheet, it's broken down by departments, includes retirement assessment, our non-appropriated costs, which is cherry sheet offset charges, allowance for abatements, and tax title, as well as the sewer enterprise fund, solid waste disposal enterprise fund, and other warrant articles with a financial impact, such as OPEB and the special purpose stabilization fund. Budget before you provides for additional funding in general government. That is services under the tax collector and assessor's office to recoup new growth, for cost for small claims court. Also includes increased backup for RIT, for proper backup. Includes one additional police officer, one additional firefighter EMT, including training costs, an additional $50,000 more than fiscal 17 for our pavement management, $9,000 for our outreach worker to make it fully funded by the town and not paid partially through a grant. It includes $3,000 for the library for reclassification for additional 3 hours for one staff member, and he recommends the superintendent's and school committee's recommended budget. This chart is a breakdown of our debt service. So there's exempt debt and non-exempt debt. The total appropriation for our debt is $4,796,858. So as you can see, the non-exempt debt is $2,063,300, and exempt debt is $2,733,558. And just for note, exempt debt is what is taxed outside Proposition 2.5. So another expenditure that the town has is it's called unclassified, and this includes insurances. So this budget has a 10% increase for police and fire, injured on duty, and workers' compensation insurance, 5% increase for general liability insurance, and initially we were faced with a 12% renewal for our health insurance, but it came in at 5.63%, so that was good news. The net impact to the municipal active and municipal school retirees insurance is $179,000, and the net impact to school active employees health insurance is $122,000. The renewals for the retirees are based on a calendar year, so this is an estimate based on last year. It will be at 8.9% estimate for MedX2, 8.39% for managed flu, and 18.9% increase for Medicare. So our retiree health insurance is our largest portion of our insurance costs. The recommendation is that the Public Employee Committee should examine plan design changes to reduce our fiscal 18 renewal costs. This chart just is a breakdown of our membership of who is in Worcester County retirement, our active and retired employees. So we have approximately 60 active town employees, 96 full active employees, and 1 sewer active employee, with about 45 retired town members and 38 retired school members. The assessment this year will be $1,106,982, which is a 5.2% increase, higher than fiscal 17. And this includes a early discount payment the town receives if the bill is paid in July, and that's $20,386. To break down the education expense, the Lunenburg Public Schools budget proposed is $19,602,049, a 6.9% increase, which there's another line item for $119,257 that I referenced earlier, which is the 40S Smart Growth money, that if you do not receive the state budget, that it would be reduced. And the Montechusett Technical School Assessment, which is $877,527, for a reduction of 1.4%, for a total education budget of $20,598,833. Some highlights from the public schools budget. For personnel, the additions are a district-wide maintenance position, a part-time school psychologist at Turkey Hill, a position that was part-time to move to full-time for a middle school teacher, adding 12 days to the high school guidance secretary for scheduling, and an addition of a humanities teacher at the high school. The reductions were 4 paraprofessional positions, a 7th grade foreign language position, and Turkey Hill music from full to part-time. On the non-personnel side, increases and decreases, there was an additional increase in transportation of $26,123, which was per their contract. The health insurance line added $381,649, which included a 5.63% increase for health insurance of $122,000, and also an additional $259,649 reimbursement from the fiscal 17 health insurance overage that was paid out of school choice funds. It also is an increase there's an increase in special education tuitions of $264,807, addition of $36,000 in the technology line because it was previously in the capital plan, and contracted services for the new fields of $19,200. Some reductions that we're seeing in this budget were in natural gas, a reduction of $30,461, a reduction of $110,721 for electricity, and for curriculum adoption, $79,000. The capital budget that was approved, the approval included Priority 1 recommendations from the Capital Planning Committee. The Capital Planning Committee received a total of $2,349,111 in capital requests from all departments for fiscal 18. Due to some of the large items the town will be faced to replace in the near future, such as fire apparatus, I would recommend we create a special purpose stabilization fund to put aside money for the future capital purchases. And this year's capital requests were paid out of both free cash and appropriations. This chart is a effect of the tax rate for this budget proposal. Given the recommended changes to the budget, the impact on the base tax rate without the exclusions would be approximately 32 cents on the tax rate, and with the debt exclusions, it would be approximately $2.16 for a total tax rate of $20.28, which is a change of 30 cents over the fiscal 17 tax rate. You also have, as in your handout, on the back side of the orange sheet, is a chart that you can figure on the average home tax rate. Some adjustments that were made since the budget was presented in February. Our free cash we originally estimated before it was certified by DOR to be at $900,000. It came in at $888,944. And this budget proposes to use $695,952 of the free cash. Our health insurance renewal originally was estimated at 12% increase for active employees. It came in at a 5.63% increase. And our estimates for Medex 2 is 8.91%, Medicare 18.02%, and Managed Blue 8.39%. Our Money Tech originally we estimated at 3.5% increase. The actual assessment was a reduction of 1.4%. Our snow and ice deficit, as we went along through the season, it grew to approximately $177,000. And the fiscal 17 budget adjustment article number 6 transferred surpluses to cover $166,000 of that deficit. The rest will be paid out of end-of-the-year transfers. So to conclude, this budget represents fully funding all contractual union and non-union salary increases. It's a balanced budget that does not use free cash or stabilization for the operating budget. It maintains level services with some exceptions and includes planning for future capital and liability costs. So the next step is we are asking for your approval for the budget. The state budget is looked at by the Senate, and they endorse one by the end of May, goes to conference committee by June 30th. An approved state budget will be submitted by July, and any final adjustments that need to be made in reflection of the state budget can be made at the fall special town meeting.
Thank you. Could you repeat that?
And I forgot, did I ask for the selectmen's recommendation?
Selectmen recommend approval.
Finance committee recommends approval.
I probably asked that. Let me go through the categories. Stay right there. Okay. So again, this begins on page 16 of the warrant. You're looking at the column to the farthest right. I'm going to go through and call it out. If you want to discuss or debate a particular category from your seat, you can just yell out hold, and then we'll get back to that particular area. But just because it got passed over doesn't mean it's been voted on. And just because you passed over it, you might think, lady, you wanted to have a question, you're certainly welcome to do that. Total maturing debt, $4,796,858.24. Total general government unclassified, $2,911,295.97. Total general government, $1,336,338.98.
Mr. Moderator, you have a hold?
That's a hold on that one. Thank you.
Mr. Moderator, you get a hold on the general town government unclassified.
Well, you got to say it loud.
That was the one.
So,
I'm not the only one you just covered.
okay. Now on
Line 6.
well, how about you stand up, Mr. Rabbit, and tell me what you're talking about. You want to hold on which general category?
Okay, I'd like to hold, Mr. Moderator, John Rand, 314 Townsend Harbor Road. I would like to hold on the total government unclassified.
Thank you.
Specific to line number 6.
I don't need to know that yet, but thank you. Total central purchasing, $55,303. Subtotal police, $1,633,881.75. Subtotal fire, $870,622.09. Subtotal radio watch, $255,718.71. Subtotal other protection, $181,269.80. Total protection, $2,941,492.35. Total health and sanitation, $70,866.95. Total DPW, $1,589,171.38. Total facilities and buildings, $615,494.19. Total solid waste recycling, $153,230. Subtotal council on aging, $134,024.78. Subtotal veterans, $105,775. Total assistance, $239,799.78. Total school, $20,598,833. Hold on total school. Total library, $381,709.86. For a total, as stated in the warrant, $35,690,393.70. Okay, so the first rule was on total general government unclassified. So let's go in that order. Sir.
I just had a general question on the outreach.
Give me the name and address again.
David Brockview, 733 West Street. What is an outreach employee?
Okay. Ms. Lemieux, outreach employee.
So that would be under general government. That was for the Council on Aging, their outreach worker. It's currently in this budget, it's partially funded through grant. We're proposing to fully fund it through town appropriation because the grant reimbursement amount is unsure.
Sir.
Mr. Chairman, John Rabbit, 314 Townsend Harbor Road. Point of clarification, if we could have it. With regard to group health insurance, specifically to retirees, we're highly sensitive to this. Are we fully accruing for the retirees' health care at this time? Each year, each employee we know is going to receive a certain number of funds over their retirement period. Are we fully accruing for that right now on an annual basis?
That's
So that's broken.
But that's broken down, so there's Worcester County Retirement, which is their pension, which we receive an assessment every year on.
Does that pension include health care?
No, so the group health insurance line does include retiree health insurance that's paid out. But we also have a liability amount which is called other post-employment benefits, which includes health insurance for retirees. And that is something that you'll see in one of the next articles, that we're asking to put money into the trust fund to start putting money away for that liability.
So we have not been in the past?
This will be the first time that
This first time, so we've been kicking the can down the road, so to speak.
The trust fund was created in 2010, which a lot of cities and towns did at that stage. It's a large, unreal number when you look at it, the liability amount. So it looks good that we are doing this and
Is it
putting money away.
being fully funded based on a go-forward basis? It's not. So we're underfunding it, so we're creating a liability that essentially we're kicking down the road, and we're not addressing the bills that we know will be coming due because we're spending the money now by hiring employees. Is that correct?
This year's budget starts to put money into that fund.
Is it fully covering?
Not fully. It would be, I think,
So-
$1 million for annual costs or more.
I would submit we're underfunding our actual expenses, our real expenses in terms of anticipated pools. I know when you're in the business world, if you sell a product, you warranty it for 3 years, you have to create a warranty for that period, and you take it out of that year's profits because you're going to pay for that. It's the same thing. Every time we hire an employee, we pay him for that year, but we're also creating a liability for the next 15. I just want to make sure that we're not kicking it down the road so badly that we will we're leaving a bomb for our kids. So I guess you said we're going to talk about this in the next article?
Yeah.
Okay, but we are not fully paying our debts right now.
Not what is identified by the actuarial study.
Stay right there, Mr. Pratt. Finance Committee.
I just wanted to speak to that the Finance Committee has been receiving actuarial information for a long time. We've been looking to try to fund the OPEB liability for a long time. And this is the first year that we've had an opportunity to actually put money into the fund. We recognize that it's an ongoing issue. We're trying to be more aggressive about getting to it, but I think that there's been a long period of not even being able to fund the current.
Right.
But the other issue is that when an actuary reports on what the potential liability is, it fluctuates with plan changes, it fluctuates with the number of employees you have, how old or how young, your demographics, all of these things come into play. We do recognize that it's an issue. We are trying to more aggressively go after it, and certainly one of the reasons why we're pushing for the OPEB trust, the free cash to go into that, is to start to address that.
Do we have a feel for their unfunded liability right now?
We have 30 million, which is an unreal number. And the reason why it's an unreal number is that when you look at how, on the pay-as-you-go method that we're currently using, it's not, I guess what I would encourage people to do is sometime in the next few months we will have another actuary presentation. It will be televised, and the actuary will come and speak to what the liability is down the road. And it's reported right now just as a hypothetical, really, because we really don't know what it is. But when we look at what it's really going to cost per year, it's not as scary as the total number. So it's something we're aware of. It's something that we're trying to make sure gets addressed, and we're being more aggressive at going at it. But it's one of those numbers that is really hard to.
Does the Finance Committee believe we should be funding more of that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We also believe we should be funding many things.
Right.
But I think, no, we definitely understand that we don't want to be tagging people with this as an issue down the road. And we are trying to make sure that people are aware that this is something that we are looking at very closely, just as we're looking at the effect of having to spend a couple of $1 million on big fire safety equipment impacts the capital budget, and why we're looking at funding debt stabilization fund as well. So it's that I don't know if anybody else would like to speak to that from the Finance Committee, but no, we're aware that it's a liability. We're definitely invested in making sure that we're more aggressive about that going forward.
Right. So we're more aggressive. Just to make the point, again, we're not fully funding even at a regular rate. Is that what we're thinking of?
That's correct.
Okay.
Stay right there, Mr. Pratt. Mr. Alonso, and then Mr. Toll, and then I'll get to you.
So I just want to bring out a few points, Mr. Rabbit, so that, number one, the issue of the OPEB liability we're talking about and that the chair of the finance committee just talked about is not unique to Lunenburg. So this is a statewide issue, and it came about because those benefits were paid on an as-you-needed-them basis. Nobody put things away, and the state decided as the actuarial numbers that were just talked about got so high that states were going to be required, the towns and municipalities were going to be required to put things away. So that has been addressed, and the state is putting together a program. I think it's a 25 or 30-year program that we have that time to be fully funded. So we are on the beginning curve, as many towns and cities in the Commonwealth are, to get to that. So I just want to be clear to the people in the audience that this is not something that we, Lunenburg alone, have fallen behind on. It was never really mandated, never really addressed in any formal way until recent years. I'd probably say the last 8 to 10 years. So that's where we are. This will be our first deposit, and then we'll be required as time goes on to catch up, so that at some point certain, like I said, 25 to 30 years, that we will be fully funded at that point.
Mr. Toll. Mr. Alonso said pretty much what I wanted to say. It's not unique to this town. It is an actuarial situation, and just the fact that we're addressing it is considered a best practice in the auditing field. We're paying close attention to developments across the state. We will certainly meet our short-term obligations, and we're beginning to fund according to state guidelines for long-term obligations.
Mr. Chairman, a question for the Finance Committee. Do you believe then that we should be putting more into that now? And should we be thinking about putting less into the stabilization fund or rainy day fund and start paying our bills now?
I would, actually, not addressing a lot more.
One thing that I would point out is that we also have an unfunded pension liability. The state has mandated that cities and towns fully fund the pension liability over a period of years. That program is already in place. As Mr. Alonso mentioned, they're also planning to put in place a program to fully fund the OPEB liability. This is actually the first year we've had any money to fund this liability, and we're not unique.
Do we have any kind of estimate of our unfunded pension liability?
I'm not sure what that number is. But we're on a program. We're on a program to become fully funded on the pension liability. I think it's like 2034.
Future expenditures by this town, a greater proportion that will go towards funding that liability. Would it be possible for the next town meeting to get a schedule?
Speaking to the pension liability, that comes out of Worcester County, and actually we're already addressing that, and we're already paying into that, so there would be an additional amount on top of that to fully fund the pension liability piece. The OPEB piece, the reason why we wouldn't want to strike or attach the other stabilization fund is really because that fits to our AA plus status, and we don't want the interest rates to be going up on any of the borrowing we currently have out there by trying to, take Peter to pay Paul. The other is that currently we're managing the health insurance costs as they come up. We could potentially be looking at putting more and more into OPEB. The one thing that we feel very comfortable about is that if it came up that we had a really big health insurance increase, we could draw from that any time, that stabilization fund, to pay health costs. So we're certainly considering it. Would we like to put more in there now? We would like to put more into a lot of stabilization funds. But I think at this point, what the town manager has recommended with not using some of the free cash that was available this year is making sure that going forward we have free cash for next year that we can look at, making sure that we're continuing to put in. We do recognize it as definitely a priority. We also recognize capital issues as a big priority because we really need to be maintaining those things that we're spending big money on now so that we don't have to spend big money again down the road. But I don't know if anybody else on the finance committee wanted to speak to this, but basically that's our position on it. We would like to be able to do a lot of things that the town wants to do. I think we support the stabilization fund activity that the town manager has recommended for those reasons. And again, I would say that the first actuarial meeting I sat through was 3 years ago, so it's time again. And while it is a very big number, it doesn't take into account where we are in 30 years as a town. So it's not as frightening a number as it may appear to be, but it can get there. So yes, we will be looking more closely at, and we do look at the total position cost of an employee when we take on a new employee.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Excellent. This is a great time to say that in February, when they're putting together their budget, all are welcome to come to the meeting. Go ahead.
This is Bob Martin, 50 from Norwood Drive. I had a couple of comments on that, but it's a little bit too confusing at this point, so.
That's fine. Okay. So we're still on that general category that we started with. Do you want to address that, sir?
No, at this point,
We're talking about general government unclassified. Do you want to talk about that category?
No.
Okay. And Ms. Doherty, did you have something you want to discuss on that category?
I just wanted
Tell us
to
who you are.
I'm the Director of Council on Aging, and I just want to explain what the definition of an outreach worker was.
Excellent. What's an outreach worker?
Our outreach worker is basically the only social service person in town who services our elderly. She makes information and referral services to everybody for home care agencies and, food stamps, free telephone, things like that. That's what she does. You're welcome.
Excellent. All right, so I'm going to say we're over that category. The next category we're going to talk about is total general government. Anybody to address the hold on total general government? There might have been a duplication. Okay, an accident on my part? What was the next hold we had? Schools, thank you. Anybody to address the hold on schools? Sir.
Bob Martin, 54 Longwood Drive.
Yeah, we're having trouble hearing you. Let's keep the voice on. Get friendly with those microphones.
Interrupted by the patient.
All right.
It's not clear to me where a couple of these items described earlier fall in, but I have to assume that they're under the school numbers. Number one, there was $1.2 million for superintendent administrative costs. And I don't have any clue where that goes or where it comes from. It's a pretty big number.
Well, we have the superintendent with us, so that might help. Come on down, superintendent. Well, come on down to a microphone.
So the 1.2 is the overall budget, the entire school operating budget. That's the bottom line based upon FY17 to FY19. There's actually a reduction overall of 2 employees in that. It's a level service budget, which means we're just continuing what we're doing this year into next year. We made some strategic exchanges. So, for example, we needed a humanities teacher, another humanities teacher at the high school. In order to do that, we eliminated the 7th grade foreign language. So that's, that line item budget has not yet been finally approved by the school committee, only the bottom line has been voted.
It sounded from the presentation like the personnel and the classes and so forth were separate from the $1.2 million. Is that not correct?
That's the entire school budget. That's the expenses, the employee health insurance for the schools, all the curriculum adoption, as well as the salaries for the teachers, paraprofessionals, custodians, maintenance personnel, IT personnel.
So it's not really admin costs, it's everything for the school.
That is correct, sir.
Thank you.
Any questions, Mark?
Excuse me?
Anything else?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
You mentioned personnel. There are proposed deletion of position of 4 paraprofessionals. And I'm just curious where those 4 paras are coming from.
I think you've got to stay up here, superintendent. I think so. You're up there with the coffee and donuts and fresh fruit, I know.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question for me?
You're eliminating positions for 4 paraprofessionals.
We're reducing the paraprofessionals, a total of 4.
Let me ask you a question, if you would. What are those 4 paraprofessionals?
Those 4 paraprofessionals, we don't know at this point in time. Once our final students are assigned to the buildings, relative to, most of the paraprofessionals are within special education programs or supporting students with disabilities within classrooms. So it really depends on where a lot of our classrooms, their total enrollment ends up, and then we'll distribute the paraprofessionals.
Given that response, part of the budget included $264,000 for an increase in special ed.
Yes.
What you're saying is that we need the paras to support the special ed. Special ed's going up, paras are going down.
That particular line for increase is for tuitions and for students that are right now projected to receive their services outside the Lunenburg Public Schools in a private or collaborative setting. If any of those students were to return to us, typically what happens is we see additional staff here in the building, our buildings being added to address that. So it's this interplay that happens in terms of out of district tuitions may come back in terms of additional personnel if the student returns to the district. So those funds, the school committee is very transparent. We're very transparent with that. Those are transferred in a public session, and that's discussed if that happens. Okay?
Stay right there. We're on school. Go ahead. Another question?
Mr. Moderator, I'm done with school. I have another related question. I don't know where it falls.
Okay, so hold on for just a second. You want to address school, sir? Go right, come right up. Get in front of me with that microphone. Go.
Yes.
Chris Menard, 672 Page Street. One question I'd have is how many additional personnel are coming in that are going to be on the pension plans? Notably, I see a psychiatrist coming in. Is that a pension position? And why would we then make a decision to go from an outsource to a pension position, which we would have a long-term obligation?
Yep. Pension, just the teachers' pensions, if you will, are funded through the Mass Teacher Retirement System. There certainly would be liabilities around the health insurance for those individuals. So the decision to do that is basically just to maximize the impact. Contracting out for services is very expensive. We understand that also having a full-time employee is. We actually are contracting out this year. We found that it puts us at a disadvantage in terms of being responsive and meeting the timelines that are required when these assessments are done. And so that's why that decision was made to move into the budget and find a part-time person that's a contracted employee that we can make sure that we have in place on a regular basis.
Go ahead. So I saw that line that was like 65,000 in actuals in 2016, going to a budgeted of over double that, if I did my math right. And that does not include the long-term obligations of pensions and paying the pension funds and the like. So I'd like to understand that.
You want to address that, Ms. Thomas?
I'm not sure which line you're talking about, because the line item, we certainly put some projections out there. Anytime we move personnel around, there's adjustments in those lines, because, for example, we started out this year with a school psychologist that was also serving as a counselor down at the primary school, and the school psychologist for both Turkey Hill Middle School and the primary school. So we made a shift this year, and that's when we went to the contracted services. The counselor at the Turkey Hill Elementary School needed to remain there full-time. She was going back and forth. And we put the school psychologist / counselor at the primary. She fulfills both roles down there. And we put that position down there full-time and did the contracted out for a school psychologist. I think in our long-term projections, we're looking for more of these combo roles because in a school district our size, we always look for people that can wear several hats. And the design model that we're looking for as retirements happen and our staff changes over is to do these combinations with counselors and school psychologists, particularly at those elementary grades. So you do incur health insurance costs with that individual, and that's calculated in as well. The pension is, they pay their pension. The teacher's retirement is totally outside. It's a self-funded program. They pay their own pensions.
So I don't understand. So you're saying that no one in Massachusetts and all the taxes that I pay pays towards the pension of the teachers?
Mr. Moderator? Hold on. Ms. Combs, you can answer that.
The teachers pay into the mass retirement system, and when they retire, that's where their funding comes from. Their retirement wages.
Go ahead.
So just to follow through on that, to answer your question, when a teacher retires, the pension and the health insurance is paid by the state of Massachusetts, our taxes.
Not the health insurance.
Okay. So the pension is paid by the state of Massachusetts, which is our taxes, but it's not our Worcester County retirement assessment. So it's when you talk about an increase of expenses, the overall expenses is the salary plus pension plus health insurance. The pension's not coming out of the town budget.
But they do come out of our Massachusetts income taxes and other taxes that we pay. So the hidden cost aspect of a lot of these decisions is, I think, non-transparent to everyone in the room here. And maybe you can tell I'm a little opposed to hiring when I think you can outsource it in that certain way. So my second question is, I don't know if it was 2 or 3 years ago, we were in a not as nice facility voting on the new school that we're in today. And at the time, I think the residents were led to believe that the overall cost of maintaining, administering, etc., this school, these schools, the middle and high school, would be lower. And today, the first year that we're opening this building, I see a 6.2% increase in the public schools across the board. I don't support that. I think we're giving a blank check to the schools here to increase costs to the town. And it's over now, I think, half the town's budget. And we got to see some belt tightening here. I sent 3 of my children to charter schools. And the responsibility that those schools show towards the budget, I think far exceeds what's being done here in these schools. So I guess my question is, what is the additional cost over the last 3 years from opening this building to what we had in the prior buildings?
So who could address the gentleman's question about increases over the last 3 years? Ms. Combs?
I think if we go back, to the school budget has increased about 5% every year, 5 to 6%. So we have to do some additional research around that. But I think the school committee has been pretty specific in terms of their guidance to the administration, in terms of saying, you know, we're not looking for 10% increases, we're not looking for 11% increases. Over time, it's been an average of 5 to 6% that has been going on. And when we opened this new building, that's exactly what it was as well. I think 5 years ago, we cut $1.2 million out of that budget as well, and we've been doing the 5% increase since that point in time. So, you know, I think within the town of Lunenburg that we have had a very transparent process within our school budget. We've been very open to questions. We understand that people have questions, maybe different opinions, but we start our budget development in October. Those are televised. When we're not televised, they're videotaped, and we welcome people to come out and give input. I know the school committee is very committed to transparency, as are all the administration and myself. So, you know, if there's any question about the school district budget, we're here to answer those questions, and we try to do that in the build-up, so everybody knows when we get to this point in town that they have a good opportunity to provide that input to us, and that will continue even afterwards. So that's my recollection in terms of where we're at relative to year here, and the decisions that we make, and the school committee either supports us or doesn't support us in it, are pretty transparent and discussed in those public meetings.
Good. I didn't get an answer to my question. I want to know the percentage.
I'll recognize you in a second. This young lady get a chance to speak for a moment, and then I'll get back.
Carol Ashambo, 662 Page Street, and I just wanted to clarify perhaps a comment just to make sure that people understood. The teacher pensions are not paid through the state. Teachers' pensions are paid, I think it is 99.5% through the teachers themselves. So when we say that a teacher pension is funded through our taxes, it isn't. The health insurance is paid through the town, but the teacher pension itself is not paid through your taxes. The teachers fund that completely.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir. You're back.
No, so I'd like to get a percentage. I mean, last year we were in a building that required a lot of maintenance. This year we're in a building, two buildings in essence, that are supposedly to require a lot less maintenance. We have a 10% increase, I think, on our budget, equating to the debt services, I think is the line, right? To pay for this building every year. I expect to see that the budget in this area would go down because of that. That was the promise that was made to the taxpayers when we voted to build this building. And I see that, I think I'm seeing that the maintenance costs are going up on the building. And I just don't understand that. And I'd like to know the facts. I'd like to see the data on that. And I'd like to see the data at the total level, not a shell game of we moved it over here, we moved it over there.
So we're going to address this gentleman's question, particularly about the maintenance office.
I'm going to ask Mr. London to come up and talk about the maintenance budget overall, and it's also posted online for everyone to see year to year. All of those separate budgets are up online on the school department website. But John, do you want to answer that?
So I can talk to the maintenance side.
Who are you first?
My name is John Londer, Director of Facilities, Lunenburg Public Schools, a resident of the town, 97 Autumn Road. So on the facility costs, from what we had to what we have now, I know when I briefed for this body, I always said that yes, the maintenance costs for a new building were going to be higher. You have a building that was 99,000 square feet. This one is 168,000 square feet. It's a much bigger building and has many modern, but things that need to be taken care of, like elevators and sound systems. And we have much more here. So there are maintenance costs that come with having new buildings, and quite frankly, the old building, in the last couple of years, we're not spending lots of money on a building that we knew was going to be demolished. Big costs in operating buildings are utility. And that was one of the areas we were very concerned about with this new building. As you saw in the briefing, we actually have made some major progress on reducing the cost of utilities in this building. This building is very, very tight, very energy efficient. Going into this building in the first year, the school committee was very concerned when I briefed what the reductions were going to be for natural gas, and asked me to put additional funds in the FY17 budget, because we didn't know, we didn't really have any historical data on what it would cost to heat the building. We do have that now. So you saw in the previous slide, reduction for FY18 of $30,000. That accounts for two things. One, that 15% overage that they wanted me to have in that FY17 budget being removed, because we have the historical data. And secondly, the cost of natural gas going down. For electricity, you saw a reduction of $100,000. This was one of the areas we were very concerned about. This very modern school uses a lot of electricity. And we got estimates from the engineers of what that number would be. We've taken some very, very proactive steps to reduce that electricity budget, and we have, because we have a 350 kilowatt solar array that should go live in the next 30 days on the roof of the building. It will account for 40% of the electricity that the building will use, and we have a rate of 8.3 cents per kilowatt hour. And if you compare that to what you pay at home, you're currently paying 9.6 cents a kilowatt hour. Anyway, that is a fixed rate for the next 20 years. We supplemented that with two net metering agreements, one with Nexamp and another with a company called Clean Footprint. And those are also reducing the cost to operate the building. So that's why you see that big reduction for electricity. So there's some things that go up, there are some things that come down. We have a much nicer building, much more comfortable place to be, but the overall increase has been very, very minor.
Thank you.
Just one more point of clarification, if I can, and actually expression of thanks for a volunteer that helped make this possible. Last fall, we had an intruder after school at our Turkey Hill Elementary School. For years, we've had camera systems, security camera systems requested on our capital plan for those. Because of the wisdom that the school committee last year and Mr. Londa, in terms of what was in the budget for utilities, and then as a result of the efforts of Mr. Londa as well as the decrease in natural gas, those two projects are able to be accomplished with the support of the Board of Selectmen, they talked about it, of the Capital Planning Committee, in terms of ensuring that the safety and security of all our schools. So those camera systems right now are poised to be put in. I think we have a volunteer that last week was down running cable, and as a result, I'm sensitive, I have to admit, to the word shell game, because the transparency in all of this has been very important for all of us, because those were big ticket items. They were both about $53,000. And that came from the energy savings that was the result of energy conservation that Mr. Londa put in place, as well as just the school committee last year wanting to make sure that we didn't fall short coming into a brand new building, but we have no history of utility usage. So we will continue to do that, and we really appreciate the volunteers that helped with cabling, as well as the support of the community to bring these important systems into both our schools that did not have them. And now all our schools have that technology that really does result in a good deal of additional safety and security. But we all know it's the people in the schools and the people visiting the schools that make the difference in terms of if you see something, say something. So thank you.
Thank you. Don't go too far.
Don't go over soon.
Mark 54 Longwood Drive. One comment, question, I guess.
Can't hear you.
Which goes back to the original comment, which is why did things change so much going from prediction of maintenance of this school to what it is now? And I guess that goes back to the question of visibility to a certain extent. The previous gentleman said, we had X number of square feet in the old school, we're going to X times 1.5 for the new school. Was that planned into the original proposal? Did we say, we're going to go 1.5 times the original maintenance fees?
Mr. Long, come
Mr. Long,
back.
I think you got to shake your head. You have to go up there where we can videotape you shaking your head.
So, if this body did ask those questions, what's it going to cost to operate this new school? I provided those answers at the town meetings when we voted on this project to build it. Those projections were true projections, and that's what we're actually seeing. So, the increases in the school budget, they're not necessarily attributed to maintenance. I would tell you that. And you can take a look at the historical data on our maintenance program, and you're just not going to see the big increase that I think you're expecting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Don't go away, Ms. Cobb, we're still on school. Go ahead, young lady.
Karen Menard, 672 Page Street.
That microphone doesn't work.
Is it on?
It's probably better, folks, if you put it in your hand, okay?
I'll try.
There you go.
Karen Menard, 672 Page Street. 2 or 3 years ago, I sat on the Finance Committee. I sat up on the stage and asked a question that I want to remind everybody about today. My question was, would we have to hire any additional staff, nursing and maintenance, for this new building? And at that time, the answer was no. And guess what's in this budget now? An additional maintenance person. So as they sit here and give us their story of, what they were expecting and saying that it's coming true, I disagree with that. This is not what we signed up for. This is not what we voted for. I made the same statement a year and a half ago in front of the selectmen, I think it was, when the school was presenting something at that point. This is not what I voted for when we voted for the new school. We were told one thing, and now we're being told something different. So I am greatly concerned about that. And this is a 6.5% increase. These 6.5% increases are, I don't want to say new, but if you look at what we have spent historically in the past, going back to 2011, there's a big jump in the past 3 and 4 years, and I don't know if that's warranted. So, thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to address that, or do you want to let this young lady
I think in terms of addressing that, those questions have been asked. We feel that they were answered. We always talked about that year that there was $1.2 million that was cut out, that we squeezed ourselves into 3 buildings, that we eliminated most of Mr. Londa's staff. And we never did not talk about needing to get back to where we were. You can see it on the personnel charts, and we're not exceeding that. We're just getting back to where we were before we eliminated everything in an attempt to make sure that these schools are well maintained. So Mr. Long has been very firm in terms of saying the maintenance costs, in terms of the operating costs, are not increasing. But we always talked about the personnel needed to do these buildings and maintain those buildings as well. So we've been true to what we have indicated in the past we were trying to do and the needed services relative to the school psychologists and those kinds of things. Those change with the changing needs of our students. We have, for the last several years, been increasing the number of behavioral specialists that we have, the counseling services that we have, the specialized supports that our students need in this world today to help them be able to be productive citizens in the future. We've been very responsive in terms of building those programs and services here for our students who are coming out of situations where they have been highly traumatized or otherwise have challenges with regard to behavioral regulation and emotion. And indeed in those areas, we've been beefing up services. And you can go back to the presentation and look at the number of students that we've returned to the district because of building those programs in here, in the district. So those have been our responses. The world doesn't stop in terms of, we will always be responsive in terms of the educational needs of our students. We're not adding a bunch of administrators. We're not adding those kinds of positions. We're only responding to our increased enrollment as well as the services that our students need, and making sure that we have those specialized services.
Stay right there. There you go, Katie.
Okay, I don't really want to inject myself in the debate because they don't...
But you're going to tell us who yourself is.
Oh, yes, Katie Adams from Williams Drive, but I just wanted to say that I think building maintenance is one of the most important things that we need to look at because we have these things, and I just want to say that in regards to maintenance and whether or not we need to add it or take it, we build things like this, we do have to take care of them and always welcome the maintenance, and you know, I want this to be here a long time. I don't want to be in a new high school when I'm elderly talking about these issues. I want to be here. And so I don't have a background of knowledge in the debate of what we're discussing in terms of this part of the budget, but I just wanted to get up and say I always highly support maintaining buildings and would never want to see cuts in taking care of a place because then it will deteriorate when we've seen that happen to other buildings. So, thank you.
Anybody else on the hold on schools?
Hi, Greg Bittner, 129 Pleasant Street. On the school building committee website, there is a frequently asked questions section, and one of the questions asked is, will there be additional costs to maintain and operate the new building? And at the end of the answer, it says, the district will see an increase for maintenance contract costs associated with preventative maintenance for elevators, air conditioning systems, sprinklers, fire suppression systems, for the kitchen, fire alarm systems. The new school will have an internal and external grease traps, which will need to be serviced. Added maintenance costs will be roughly $10,500 per year. No capital costs are anticipated for the new school during the first 10 years of operation. So if that adds any information.
Pick up the microphone. You're a color report.
Yeah, I know. Aiden Common Island Road, Bloomberg. I just want to say that I'm a strong supporter for the school and the teachers in the school system. I'm a little discouraged at looking at $1 million a year increase. Massachusetts gives you 2.5% for tax overrides or tax covenant, and it's discouraging when you see the school come at 6 or 8 or whatever percent. But a couple of comments is that Mr. Longley, you done a good job with the maintenance of the buildings. Did you guys take into consideration that you went from 3 buildings down to 2 when you got rid of the patio? And where did that money go that was taking care of the patio buildings since it's gone? That's always concerning. And the other question I have is, every time I drive by here, every light is on the outside. I don't know if they're on timers, but I can see the lights from my house. And I didn't know if you could do some kind of balancing in that. And but that's only a concern every time, like I said, we get to 2.5% override.
Go ahead, Mr. Long.
So the funds that previously maintained the patios essentially were brought in to maintain this building. And funding for the patios currently is coming from the tenants that work out of the patios now. So we have a flat collaborative they pay in towards the cost to operate that building, as well as the daycare program, cable committee, cable programs in there as well, and that's how that building is getting funded. So the cost to operate the patios, when it closes the school, came into this building to operate this building. So that's that. And as far as the timers, yes, we are on timers. We shut the lights off at nighttime, but we don't shut the lights off if we have staff in the building. And we do have some staff that are working pretty late in the building. So if you came by at 2 o'clock in the morning, the lights would be off, but if you came by at 11:15 or even 12, we might have some staff working in the building, and obviously we do leave the parking lot lights on for them while they're here, and then shut them off after they're done.
Chris Menard, 672 Page Street. Just a question, is now a time to make a motion if we want to change the budget?
You may make it.
All right, so I'm going to make a motion that has a snowball's chance and you know where to be approved, but I'm doing it to set something for next year. I move to remove $602,000 from the school's budget this year. You guys got to figure it out. You're running a business. You're running a business that's 57% of our budget. And if it increases by 6.2% a year, and we have a 2.5 override every year, you're eventually going to take over the entire budget. We can't find $17,000 for an ATV, but we can fund $1.2 million in the school. And I know the expectation next year will be $1.3 million, and the year after that, $1.4 million.
Is there a second to the motion?
A second.
Okay, there's a second. So now we're debating just the motion to decrease the school line item by $602,000.
Mr. Moderator?
Mr. Eversole, on the motion.
Yes. Please note that the property tax, state aid, and local receipts represents a 5% increase. We're not talking about a 2.5% increase. So we have to compare apples and apples, and that still doesn't match the 6%. I'm concerned with that on the sustainability process. But the $1.2 million increase in the school budget does represent programs, represents students, and represents the future of Waterbury. I recommend that you disapprove this amendment.
And I ask the selectmen to caucus publicly as much as you can for a recommendation. Mr. Alonso, you may speak.
I just want to address one of the comments about the percentage. So this school budget, including Monty Tech, is 57% of this omnibus budget. And if you look historically over the last 12 years, it has hovered between, it's gone as high as 60 and it's gone as low as 55%. It's always in the same range. So the insinuation that if you keep increasing it, it's going to take over the budget is simply historically not accurate, because it never has, number one. Number two is we have an elected school committee that has open budgets that I follow over the years, and I have the fullest confidence in the numbers that they're asking for are appropriate for the services and the educational needs that our students provide, and they have been doing so for many years. And I would offer that this amendment to arbitrarily choose a number without explanation, except you want to reduce the budget, is inappropriate and probably a little bit out of order, but as far as unsupportable. So I would recommend, as my colleague Mr. Eversole said, to vote against this amendment. Thank you.
Before you go, Mr. Rep, I'm going to suggest that the Board of Selectmen have their microphone open as they discuss it. This is an open public meeting, and you and I were talking about that earlier. So when you talk, you have your microphone open so that people conceivably can know what you're saying. And the same will go with the FinCom. You have your microphone open somehow. We'll have to figure out how to do that. So go ahead, Mr. Clark. You want to defer to Mr. Rapp?
Please, go right ahead.
I'm 14, Thompson Howell Road. Been in town for a ton of years. Started off on the Finance Committee, and deep respect for what you folks are going through. I've had a chance during that time to start working with the schools and understanding what was really happening there. Recently, I've been working with the superintendent to essentially integrate some of the programs that are going on in town. Conservation, stormwater, they're embracing us. We're starting to take the issues that we've got going in town, educating the kids. I had a chance to have a tour of the school during the school day. And I taught college for about 15 years at night. And all I can tell you is what I've seen now is a level of engagement with our kids like we've never seen before. The technologies that we're using in industry today, these kids are learning them. They're in front of tubes. They're doing design work that we have to hire engineers for. All I know is I think this building and this whole structure that's been put together, and Deloxy, to your credit, has done a lot for our kids. It's not the same school that you remember up at the high school when you walk around and half the kids are staring at the walls. You know, It's truthful. I went in there, and it was lunchtime. You normally see a bunch of stuff lying around. These kids were all focused. They were all talking. They were looking at books. This is a different school system. This building has created a really unique opportunity. It has a higher cost, but what we're offering our kids are things that didn't exist before. So I'm with Mr. Alonso with regard to the proportion of the budget, but there's nothing going on wrong here. In fact, I encourage everybody, come on over, see what the school day is like here. This is really a good school. It's a good school system. And I'm seeing dedicated teachers, and we're seeing students that are coming out here, and they're pretty excited about what they're learning. Thank you.
Introduce yourself every single time. Go ahead.
Bob Martin, 54 Longwood Drive.
There you go.
Bob Martin, 54 Longwood Drive. I'll deviate from the discussion about how good the schools are, because I think they are pretty good. My question is about the amendment. Some discussion was made, well, we can't just arbitrarily pick a number. One of the things that we discussed was the addition of personnel. And presumably the additional personnel was to add our special education programs, to enhance those programs. And yet we have a line item of $264,877, which is intended to send special ed kids somewhere else. In other words, the town is obligated to pay for special ed kids. They can't be handled here. So we're spending money in two places. One is we're adding personnel, and two, we're still paying more to send people out of the town to get the special ed that we are not providing. So we're double dipping as far as I'm concerned. So I would recommend taking $264,000, amend the motion to take out $264,807 out of the budget.
I'm getting there. So, Mr. Martin, give me your number.
Number is $264,807.
Getting there. $264,807 from which line item? Or from the general budget?
I think it was from the general school.
From the general school budget, okay. Now, a couple things can happen. Somebody can just second it that way, and we can vote on your motion, or the original moving party could accept your number. Mr. Bernard?
Mr. Moderator?
Yeah?
If I may. Joel Hart, Town Council. Just to understand the ground rules, town meeting can only take one action on the school budget, and that is to vote on the bottom line. In other words, you can only present a number, and then the school committee has to deal with that number. You can't identify a line item. You can't zero out something or increase or decrease. It's just the bottom line number.
And that's what he did. $264,807 from the general school's budget.
That would be fine. I heard some discussion targeting it to outsource special needs. For instance, we can't do that.
But to be clear, Mr. Martin, you're talking about that amount, dollar amount from the general school budget.
Correct.
Okay. So is there a second to that motion?
No.
All right. Okay. There's no second to your motion.
Okay.
But the motion that's on the floor is to reduce the school budget by $602,000. That's the motion that's still on the floor. Now, I had said before, and I'll let you speak in a minute, that I want, because it's such a big part of the business of the town, that the selectmen and the finance committee would caucus using their microphones so that people can know, because it's an open public meeting, you've got a right to know how they're voting. So we'll figure out how to do it, Mr. Lunder. I see you shaking your head. So they can put one microphone between them and speak.
Mr. Moderator, I suggest that we take a roll call vote. If you want to comment before you vote, we can. Otherwise, technologically, I don't believe it's appropriate to do it the way it's suggested.
Okay, and I'll allow you to take a roll call vote, you guys can take a roll call vote in a moment. Although if they need to discuss it prior to the roll call, I don't know how you do that. We will discuss it, okay. Sir?
Matt Snyder, Black Hill Road. In regard to special ed, it being double dipping, my understanding is that the money leaving town is for those kids with special needs that the school system can't address.